What's happening, y'all? This your man Tedashii, and you are watching Mwendo Radio Backstage. Don't go anywhere.
Everybody lends an ear. I wanna thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the Mwendo Radio Show.
One of the things I've always admired about you since I first met you, bro, was how important family is to you.
Yeah.
Like, that was evident to me from the first day I met you. And you lost probably one of the most precious things, if not the most precious thing that someone could lose in terms of one of your children, bro. How did you deal with that, man? Like, how did you deal with that? How did you recover from that and get to a space where you were able to do music again and you know, start this radio situation and tour and pour yourself out to people?
Yeah. Well, I'm still dealing with it. I think it's something that in reality I'll deal with till I go to heaven. The fact that something so permanent or seemingly permanent as death is something that we just don't deal with. And so there was no preparation for losing close relatives, but nevertheless losing a child. There's just no preparation. And so from that, it took a lot of love and care from our local community, our pastor, the family that we have there at our church, individuals that knew firsthand what it was like to struggle, even if they didn't know what I was dealing with directly. Just knowing what it feels like to struggle through something, to feel pain. They walked with us in a way that gave us strength, direction, comfort. My wife is an amazing woman. She's super strong, faithful in the Lord, and she was a rock for me as much as I tried to be for her. And man, it was really just a overflow of people's love. And then we started walking into counseling. Now I don't know if people are aware of what counseling is really, and I don't even know if I can fully give it justice in defining it. But when you're able to sit with another individual who can, with a full knowledge, with a healthy knowledge of the scriptures, and also a tender and shepherding love for a person sitting across from them, or people sitting across from them, and they can, in some sort of way, speak into your life, lead you, give you insight, that does so much for your soul. One, because it's a rarity for people to have it, and then two, because in the moment they're actually able to relate in some sort of way to what you're dealing with. And so biblical counseling was a huge part of this as well. So I preface it like that because I would hope at some point, I know a lot of guys where I live are like, I don't need counseling. I don't want to go through that. And I don't know why there's such a taboo or stigma to it, but I think every person needs to sit with someone professionally trained who knows their Bible, who loves God and loves people, to sit with them and just walk through a season of their life, getting an understanding more of who they are in the Lord. Counseling was huge for us, man.
Yeah, wow. I know even you know, on the music side of it, some people had shared with me that there was some plans that you had coming out of this album, you know, tours and, you know, headlining one of the Reach concerts, and then obviously, you know, you kind of took a pause to be with your family, which is what you need to do. But how did you even deal with like almost another disappointment on that end from a professional career? Because this is your livelihood, you know, and there's a reality that comes along with those situations as well.
Yeah. Career wise, when everything went down, Reach showed up in a very supportive and loving way. I mean, granted, we're friends, we're brothers in the Lord. There's relationship there, but it's seldom that relationship can heavily influence business, and in this regard, it did. And so, cats were willing to sacrifice, willing to put things on pause, and I think it was really based genuinely on a love of Christ, and not necessarily just who I was. then on top of that, man, there was, my boy Vernon at His Voice Global raised funds for us financially so we could survive for the next 6 months, and just so many different things, man. I mean, he was a brother who lost his father, and so he knew firsthand what it meant to have to step up and provide, but at the same time be a person who needed to grieve and needed to mourn, and I was ignorant to it, but am more aware of it, obviously. But he was someone who was constantly telling me, this isn't a month fix, this isn't a 3-month fix, this isn't a 6 months fix. 6 months is no magical number. That's just what we think is doable when it comes to support raising. And in reality, he was right. Like it's not even a year fix. I don't even know when all of it comes to a place of not necessarily closure, but comes to a place of peace. But I'm still working to that. And so in this, I think people just saw that, understood that even more than I could in the moment, and just showed up to be gracious. And so I ultimately got, and to more answer your question, I ultimately got to a place to where whatever was gonna happen career-wise, I never controlled it to begin with. I didn't even plan to start this thing. And so I had a peace and a comfort there to go, man, whatever I was gonna get then, I'm gonna get now, and I'm just gonna wait, so.